Welcome, everyone. My name is Mario Gaudet, and welcome to the Stormwalker Group YouTube channel. Today, we're going to touch on a subject that's close to the heart of every true Canadian, Remembrance Day. In a world that's feeling more unstable by the day, with conflicts raging in Europe and the Middle East and tensions simmering around the globe, it's easy to get caught up in the headlines and forget about the lessons of the past. But Remembrance Day is not a holiday. It is a call to honor, to remember, and to commit to a better future. Over the next few minutes, we'll dive deeper into why this day should matter to us as Canadians and why it resonates more deeply now during these trying times on the precipice of what could be large-scale global war. Stick with me and we'll uncover how remembering can guide us through today's uncertainties. If you're new to the channel, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. Check the bell icon as well so you get notifications on all our uploads, like our series Real Canadian Heroes and Units of the CAF. Now let's get started. First, let's rewind to the roots of Remembrance Day. It all began in 1918, at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, when the guns of the First World War finally fell silent. The armistice ended what the world had called the War to End All Wars, a conflict that claimed over 16 million lives worldwide. For Canada, a young nation still finding its footing, this war was a defining moment. Over 620,000 Canadians served and more than 66,000 never came home. Places like Vimy Ridge became symbols of our courage and unity, battles where Canadian forces achieved what others could not, forging our identity on the global stage. But Remembrance Day isn't just about World War I. It honors all who have served and sacrificed in conflicts since. From the beaches of Normandy in World War II, where 14,000 Canadians landed on D-Day, to the rugged hills of Korea, the peacekeeping missions in Cyprus and Bosnia, and the dusty roads of Afghanistan. It's a day to remember the veterans of today as well, those who bear the physical and invisible scars of service. So, why should this day matter to us as Canadians? Well, it reminds us of the cost of freedom and peace. Canada has long punched above its weight in global affairs. We're no superpower, but our commitment to democracy, human rights, and international alliances has shaped the country that we are today. Think about it. Without the sacrifices of those who fought and died in those wars, the Canada that we know, multicultural, relatively peaceful, the potential to be prosperous, might not exist today. Take John McCrae, Canadian doctor who penned in Flanders Fields among the horrors of Ypres in 1915. His words, "We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow." Well, they just capture the humanity lost in war. That poem inspired the poppy as a symbol of remembrance worn by millions across the Commonwealth each year. It's a simple flower, but it carries a profound weight. It is a reminder that freedom is not free. And it's not just about the past. Remembrance Day connects us directly to our values. In a country as diverse as ours, with citizens from every corner of the globe, this day should unite us in gratitude. Whether your family has been here for generations or whether you've just arrived, honoring those who have fought and died and sacrificed to preserve this way of life fosters a sense of belonging. Now, let's talk about why Remembrance Day matters most right now in these trying times of global unrest. As I record this in November 2025, the world feels like it is teetering on the edge. The war in Ukraine drags on into its fourth year, with Russian advances threatening European stability. In the Middle East, escalating conflicts have displaced millions and raised fears of broader involvement. Tensions in the South China Sea, cyber threats from state actors, and even climate-driven resource wars. We are on the precipice of large-scale conflict that could dwarf what we have ever seen before. In this context, Remembrance Day is not a relic. It is a warning bell. It urges us to remember the human cost of war. History shows that ignoring the past leads to repetition. The two world wars taught us about the dangers of isolationism, unchecked aggression, and failed diplomacy. Today, as alliances like NATO strain under pressure and populist movements question international commitments, we need to heed those lessons. For Canadians, this is personal. Our Canadian Armed Forces are stretched thin, with veterans and serving personnel both receiving inadequate support back home. Remembrance Day calls us to action, not just to wear a poppy, but to advocate for greater investment in national defense, better veteran care, mental health resources, as well as economic and industrial efforts that allow Canada to supply the world instead of the radical nations that currently do so. In a time when disinformation spreads like wildfire and divisions deepen, remembering the cost of global war and the terrors of National Socialism and communism must unite us against hatred and extremism. Let me share a story that might bring this home. In World War II, Ken May of Bobcaygeon, Ontario, served as an infantryman. He helped liberate Italy and ultimately Europe from the socialist and fascist dictatorships that threatened the sovereignty of the world's young democracies. He nearly lost his arm, and when interviewed regarding his service, his eyes would well up remembering his lost comrades and the young persons who died on foreign fields so that their descendants, children, nephews, nieces could all prosper in a world without the threat of tyranny. Stories like his are echoed in families across Canada. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. In today's world, with the threat of nuclear escalation or cyber warfare that could cripple nations overnight, these stories remind us of what's at stake. Remembrance Day matters because it inspires us to pursue peace actively. Canada has a long legacy of peacekeeping, from Lester B. Pearson's Nobel Prize-winning role in the Suez Crisis to Canada's contribution to countless UN missions. But peace and freedom are not passive. They do not perpetuate automatically once achieved. They require constant vigilance, introspection, and regular thought. As we face potential large-scale war, let us recommit to these ideals. Let us support the troops, both at home and abroad. Let us commit to informed dialogue, and let us elect leaders who put readiness over optics and diplomacy over division. Let us teach the next generation about Vimy, Dieppe, and Kandahar, not to glorify war, but to prevent it and be ready should it happen again. So practically speaking, how can you make Remembrance Day matter in your life? Well, you can attend a local ceremony. They're held in pretty much every province and territory, every county and city, more or less. You can donate to the Royal Canadian Legion's Poppy Fund, which supports veterans and their families. And you can share stories on social media using hashtag Remembrance Day to keep the conversation alive. And if you're a student or teacher, you can ask to incorporate lessons of Canadian history into your curriculum. In these uncertain times, Remembrance Day is a beacon. It reminds us that from the ashes of conflict, we can build a stronger and better society. We owe it to those who served, fought, and died, and future generations to never forget. Thank you for joining me today. If this video resonated with you, again, please like, share, and subscribe. Click the bell icon to get notifications on all our uploads. And for everyone who served, lest we forget. Have a good one, eh?